So, this day has been a roller coaster from hell. This shit is really getting so hard that I don't know if I can keep going. I really, really don't know how much longer I can handle this shit. But, today I went to the neurologist. Had to get up really early. My sleep apnea fucked with me really bad. So, I can't stop cussing now ever since I hit my head and all this brain shit started. I don't know. It's like normal vocabulary now. I mean, I was sort of that way before, but now I'm just vulgar. Anyways, probably because I'm agitated and miserable. So I guess it's understandable. So, fuck it. But anyways, I had to get up really early. My sleep apnea had really messed me up. And then went to the neurologist. Had a really rough time. I had to wait for him in his office for a long, long time. He got there, told me he didn't know what was wrong with me, and it sounded, like he wasn't going to be able to figure it out based on his vocabulary that he used and the tone of his voice. Then left there, and I was already agitated about whether or not I'd be able to make it go home, make it back, because being in the car is really hard for me. And then, my grandma was really nice to do a lot of stuff for me today, but it was just a lot. We went to eat breakfast, and then I got a haircut. We went to a shoe store. We walked through Belk. And then we went to the hardware store where she works. It was just so much stuff. And, I really did appreciate all of it. But it was just a lot of stimulation. But it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't that bad. Then I got home and I guess I was okay. But then me and Mom had to leave to go to my therapist. And when I got in the car, started feeling real bad. Like, I wasn't going to be able to handle it. Like I was going to flip out horribly to the point where, I was going to lose control of myself, become, violent, not towards others, but just violent in general, screaming and lashing out. I felt like I was losing control over myself, and it was horrifying. And I tried to explain that to her, but she was on the phone on an important phone call, and she just kept saying, chill out, you'll be fine. And it wasn't working for me. I mean, I was really losing it. And it was one of the scariest things I've ever done, I think, in my entire life, riding to the therapist that day. Yes, or today, I don't know. I'm disoriented. It was today. Then I saw the therapist, which went pretty well. Emily, if you're watching this, I'm not going to omit my opinions about things for your benefit. I don't do it for my family either. This is personal for me to share how I feel, so I'm not going to hold back. But, me and her, we have a tendency to fixate on medical diagnosis of my health and how bad I feel, because there's an inability to figure that out, and it is relevant to why I feel horrible. So we talk about it a lot, and I always hope, going to therapy will help me cope with this horrifying time in my life, that will allow me to make it through this, to be able to handle what I'm going through, learn skills that can benefit me and be reminded of old things. Because, I've been through therapy for so many years. There's lots of things that I do know of them, but it just doesn't cross my mind anymore to try them because it's been so many years since I've thought about it. So also, I also look to her to remind me of all the old coping skills that I have written down, but that I'm just not utilizing right now. And to maybe come up with some creative new ones, all of it's good. Nothing is bad in therapy, I don't think. Nothing is a bad suggestion as long as it's a form of like a coping skill. Anyways, I'd like to do more of that, but that's really on me to an extent, because if you're not happy with what you're getting out of therapy, it's your job, I suppose, to direct the conversation to an extent. And I did that today, and we came up with guided meditation, and thought, I think she called it thought blocking or stopping, which I did that actually in Walmart today. And it was actually pretty effective as long as I wasn't feeling too bad. Now, when I get to feeling real bad, it's not really thoughts anymore. It's just how bad I feel that's agitating me. But kind of like when you get the flu and you're just agitated because you feel bad. It's not any thoughts that are pissing you off or making you anxious. But when I'm not too bad, the thought stopping stuff, that worked surprisingly well. I was shocked. Anyways, I left the therapist and I was concerned about making it back home, and then my mom stopped to get some stuff at a teacher store because she's a teacher, and then I was trying to do some positive thinking there. I made a video in the store. You can go back and watch it. And then we left there, and I was like, we really have to go home. I've been out all day long. I can't handle anything else. And she's like, well, we got to go to Walmart and get stuff for dinner. I was like, drop me off at home and go back to Walmart. She's like, no, you got to go with me. So we went to Walmart, and that's where I did the thought blocking stuff. But then I walked around the store like 4 times trying to find my mom after I went to the bathroom, and I couldn't find her. And I started freaking out because I was like, if something happens, if I have some sort of nervous breakdown, there's not going to be a single person in this store to help me, and they're just going to like call the police to arrest me because I'm making a scene. I started flipping out and hyperventilating, like, where is she? I need her. And she finally popped up out of nowhere. Then I was like, now we have to go home. And she's like, well, the tire's flat. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm going to lose it. And we went to a gas station, filled it up, and then we went home. We got home, and I was feeling so bad that I was pacing and shaking and hyperventilating and all this. It was really bad. I felt so horrible that I couldn't even begin to cope with that. And then it really kind of stayed that way. I did some medical research, but the whole time I felt like I was losing my shit. I was about to blow up. The pressure in my head is just like, it's so horribly intense and painful. And then the disorientation, the agitation, the emotional, psychological pain is really intense. And then there's a cat that gets in the way. We'll go one way or the other. Make a decision. So it's just a really rough night as far as the psychological stuff goes and the agitation. And then that started to ease off. after I was joking around with my brother for a little while. Well, I think it eased off before I started joking around because I wouldn't have been able to joke around if I was feeling like shit. Then I started having these emotional symptoms like sort of suicidal, mood swing, bipolar, agitation, mixed phase type stuff. And I'm still having that. And it's really nightmarish. I mean, it's god awful, but if it gets too bad, I'll just go to the mental hospital. They can do a lithium level, put me on some mood stabilizers, antidepressants, whatever, and hopefully that'll fix it. But trying to handle this on my own, on an outpatient basis, but it's not always a possibility. It's not always, doesn't always work. But I don't know if I could handle being hospitalized again, because I really rely on my family's support a lot right now. Like, I would probably kill myself or become so agitated, constantly screaming, miserable, that I wouldn't, the level of stress I would have would literally be dangerous to my health without them. So to go into a psychiatric hospital and stay for weeks or months because of how messed up everything is in my head, I would get claustrophobic first off, because I did last time. I was very claustrophobic, and I kept having severe panic attacks that I needed to leave. I needed to get out of that building. But that would be an issue. But additionally, I just feel like it would do more harm than good, aside from the chemical stabilization. As far as it would traumatize me at this point in my life to be inpatient. It really would. So I'm trying to avoid that unless it's a direct safety issue. But I think I'm going to try to go to sleep. But I'm just so emotionally fucked up right now, like with this storm of agitation and emotional mood swings and stuff in my head. But I'm going to try, make an effort to sleep. Because I have to sleep. I've got to do that. I'm going to call the psychiatrist tomorrow, I guess, and ask her about this medicine combination she wants me to try. It's a tranquilizer combined with a mood stabilizer, which I read can cause neurotoxic brain damage that's permanent and makes you feel like you're like going insane forever, which I think I could already have something like that. We don't want to double down, So I'm going to call her and ask what the statistical likelihood is of that interaction happening. Might call a few pharmacists too. But if everybody agrees the likelihood is small that would happen, I think I'm going to go ahead and take it. I mean, I have a huge phobia of medicine, especially antipsychotics. But we're out of options here, people. I've got to do something to feel better, and this could just be it. So I have a bad feeling about it. I think it could kill me. I think it could, well, I don't think it could kill me. That's not very likely. But I think it could cause some sort of neurotoxicity. I think that it might make my current symptoms much, much worse. But, as everybody's been so keen to point out, could make it better too, so only one way to know. And everybody, including me, is desperate for me to feel better, so I might take this not only for myself, but for them. Everybody wants me to try whatever options I have, which right now are not many. So, at least show them I'm making an effort to get better by taking it. But I do have a bad feeling about it. But I think I'm going to try to sleep. I might do the social media thing for a few more minutes with my support group people and my friends and stuff. But I gotta go to sleep.